Let me set the stage. Nikita, who you may know if you're a regular user of X, currently working at the company, posts this today. Team size, Meta, 87,000. Microsoft, 221,000. Google, 190,000. X, 30. Elon Musk chimed in. Just to clarify, there's also an additional 30-ish XAI engineers, so not X engineers, XAI engineers, specifically working on the pure AI-based recommendation system. One of the benefits of X and XAI being one is that they can share talent. So let's just be generous here and say there's 60 total folks behind the X platform. Absolutely bonkers. Now a very short clip of Joe Lonsdale, co-founder of Palantir, many other things as well, also based AF, sharing his perception of Elon Musk and how he gets so much done with so little in terms of resources, and that includes employees.
Elon is the most alpha of all of my friends, I'd say. I'm willing to go 3 or 4 standard deviations too hard in terms of working too hard and pushing people and being bold and just cutting nonsense and driving towards things. That makes me a great entrepreneur. Elon's my only friend who's clearly a standard deviation further than me along those lines. So it's just the most alpha of all the guys.
I think what Joe's really getting at there is Elon's goal is not to be liked at all. It's simply to be as effective as possible and for his companies to be as lean, resourceful, and efficient as possible. Nothing else matters. And remember Nikita from just a few moments ago, sharing the headcount, 30 plus 30, so 60 at X in total. Well, here he is in a recent interview explaining what it's like to work for Elon Musk.
Tell me, what's it been like now a year in working for Elon? What's that like? I mean, obviously we've all read the stories, the Walter Isaacson book. We know the intensity he brings, the passion he brings, but tell us what it's really like.
So I worked at Meta, I worked at Discord, and I've basically done the road show around all the social networks and seen how all these organizations operate. At an Elon company, it's a very flat organization. Large number of people report direct to Elon, and there's very few managers. Everyone has an incredible amount of agency. We come up with an idea, we build it in a week, and it's out. At Facebook, things would take months to get approvals, even after engineering was done.
Some valuable insights here as somebody who's worked at many previous tech/social media companies, being able to compare and contrast the experience there. A couple of things that really stand out: a very flat organization. You don't have 600,000 layers of management and approvals and other bullshit, because at the end of the day, what matters is results. And in the context of X, results equal making the product better. He also described having a lot of agency. In other words, you are trusted. You've been hired because you're a gigabrain, very capable. You don't need hand-holding because you're not fucking retarded. Do good work, create new products, features, functions. If it's good, it goes live. No bullshit. The pace of innovation that's happened at X since Musk acquired Twitter and then the rename has been phenomenal to see. In case you guys have short memories, when Musk first acquires Twitter, shit canned roughly 80% of the workforce, and the headlines from the fake news, who by the way, either consciously or subconsciously knew that was their end of the control of the one true narrative, and probably a little bit concerned, so may not have actually believed what they were saying, but were saying Twitter's going to implode. It's not possible to get rid of this many people without the service crashing. It won't work. This is going to be a disaster. Elon doesn't know what he's doing. Plus, he understands rockets and cars, not tech or the internet or social media. Plus, he's got the tism. So therefore, how could he possibly be successful with a social network? Of course, we know how this actually turned out. A massive increase in features, functionality, pace of innovation, dramatically better product, and the company went from losing fuck tons of money to printing crazy money with absurd profits almost instantly, which just goes to show that at least 80% of the headcount previously employed by Twitter were, to say it delicately, super mid at best, and to say it more accurately, just useless fucking wankers doing absolutely nothing, if not slowing the company down. But again, the narrative at the time from the fake news, they were saying it'd be the end of the company. They'd collapse, implode, you couldn't do this, not possible. But all it takes is having elite, top-tier talent, a flat structure, not having 600 trillion layers of management, and empowering people to get shit done. Having agency. That's all it takes. We've just heard Nikita explaining that at Meta, formerly known as Facebook, features that might take a week to implement from idea to live on X could have taken months of just getting approvals before actually engineering and doing the thing.
But working with Elon, I've never seen an executive with his amount of responsibility that is that deep in the weeds. He cares a lot. He does weekly reviews basically with every engineer at the company.
Wow.
And you just go around with, you have 1 or 2 slides, you present what you got done that week. He gives feedback. the amount of context switching that he has to do between SpaceX, Tesla,
Totally, yeah.
and XAI and X and Boring Company and Neuralink, it's incredible. And he has, just an incredible perspective on each of these problems. And I think the thing that I didn't really fully internalize before working, directly with him is, Elon always takes the high road. Like, he will always do the hard things. When you're a consumer product builder, you're often looking for like short-term growth hacks, the quick wins. And like, I'd present some of these options and he'd be like, no, we're going to do the hard thing. He says, we have to do this. This is the most important thing we have to do. We have to rebuild the algorithm, or we have to build these data centers. And I think that's the reason so much wealth has been created with his companies and his shareholders, and why investors kind of are ready to finance his next project, because he will always do the hard thing. And that was such a profoundly different approach to what I had been, used to, working at other companies, or a lot of stuff I've seen in tech. Like, a lot of these things, those hard things seem absolutely impossible. But when he gives engineers agency to do it and says, let's make it 2 weeks, like rebuild the algorithm in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Amazing things happen.
Yeah, motivates them.
Yeah, and when you have very little communication overhead, small teams, these miracles happen.
Yeah.
And that's how we built a data center in 2 months when everyone said it would take 2 years.
More great insights. I think two things that really stand out. Musk is willing to do hard things. He's talked about this going back many years, about building companies, blah, 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 calling it doing your chores. This is definitely something that separates Musk from most leaders of most companies. He eats pain for breakfast, lunch, and dinner every fucking day, voluntarily. But another thing that Nikita pointed out, which is also very true and important, is that he really cares. Not just is he down in the weeds with all the details, he really cares about the product, to the point where years ago, if you guys recall, Dave Lee, shout out to Dave, I miss his regular content, managed to guess Elon's email address, and I believe the story goes, he emailed Elon, I think he was looking for a test drive of a Model S. Musk replies almost immediately, which is astonishing in and of itself, and arranged one. The guy who's leading the fucking company cared enough about a customer who'd managed to guess his address and wanted to test drive their 2012 electric vehicle, that he took action. And I have similar stories, I won't get into all the details, but he's still like that today, caring this much and be willing to do the hard things. Can you imagine Sergey Brin or Mark Zuckerberg or Jeff Bezos still caring this deeply, being willing to do these hard things day in, day out, day in, day out? And one last clip on how Elon hires. Again, note how quickly things move.
You were contemplating going. This was before you took the job. And I'm trying to remember that story. I mean, because it spanned over several months. Like, tell us that story. Tell us the story of you joining X. How did this come together? You almost did, and then you were an advisor, I think, and then you weren't, and then you got hired full time. Like, what's that like, going through that process, talking to Elon and team? Why did they want you?
Yeah, I had been using X to kind of share my advice and product wisdom about how to build consumer products over the last decade.
Especially after Discord, right? You started to really lean into growth advice on X.
Yeah, and so I built this great reputation, and so a few of the investors at XAI had reached out asking, do you want to advise us on product and growth?
Okay.
And so I kind of took this role of like interim product lead while the company was just getting started. It was, I think, about 25 people, mostly just AI engineers. I started advising them. So one of their investors reached out saying, I have a super secret project. We need your help. And I said, I have a trip to Japan.
Fat signal.
In like 3 days, and they're like, can you work from Japan? And so as I was traveling, I was doing 2 a.m. calls with the team. Mainly what I had focused on was the integrations with X and how it could grow.
The integration of XAI with X.
Yeah, Grok. So like Grok Analyze, like the button on every post.
Yep.
The upsells, things like that. I was advising them for a year. They wanted me to get more involved. I wasn't really ready at the time. I just left Discord, a growth stage company, after selling the Gas app, which is kind of the viral social network that I launched. And I was just wanting to kind of advise, and I was going to live in New York and just kind of hang out. And then the company just started growing like crazy. I would see them one meeting, and then the next meeting, the team would be double the size.
Whoa.
The
product team, or all of XAI?
The engineering team.
Okay.
The company is primarily just engineers.
Yeah.
The data center went up extraordinarily fast.
Yep.
I think it was like 2 months to build Colossus. I was seeing like the true momentum of an Elon company.
Yeah.
And then they announced the merger of the two companies between X and XAI. And some of the leaders reached out and said, we could use your help on X. I was pretty excited about it.
Because you're a forever user.
I love the platform. So then Elon suddenly DM'd me and said, maybe we can work together.
This is on X. He DMs you on X.
Yeah.
Had you ever talked to him before?
We had met twice during when I was advising XAI.
Okay. And I'm assuming he followed you on X, and he knew who you were. He knew your content.
Yeah. He said, come out to Palo Alto. I was living in New York at the time, and I literally just grabbed my backpack, called an Uber, and bought a plane ticket on the way to the airport. So then I arrived in Palo Alto at midnight.
Okay.
Elon's finally free at 2, and we talk about what I could do at X.
Just take a moment there. Elon's still working at 2 a.m. Typical day.
Then Elon said, why don't you just get started now?
At 2 in the morning or 1 in the morning.
Just right. Yeah. And I already had a lot of ideas of what we could be working on, but I think this was effectively the interview.
Right.
So I message a designer that I've worked with for 10 years, Nicholas Duke-Dadon. He lived in San Francisco, and I said, I need you to drive down to Palo Alto tomorrow.
I thought you were going to say right now at 2 a.m.
Yeah, I said it's a really exciting project. We're gonna work through the weekend on redesigning the onboarding flow for the X app. And so we worked basically for like 48 hours straight, build a beautiful prototype of the onboarding flow. Elon flies in after he stepped down from Doge. He walks in, we finish right then, and he said, "What have you been working on?" And I said, "We redid the onboarding flow for the app." Hand it to him. He says, "This is great. Let's move forward."
Wow.
And
that was your test.
Yeah.
An epic story. Also, again, very insightful. Musk DMs Nikita. He's familiar with who he is. He's been advising previously XAI a couple of times. They've met in person. DMs him out of the blue. Hey, brah, we could maybe work together. Jump on a plane. Nikita's like, yep, okay, does it. Arrives, meets with Elon at 2 a.m. the same fucking day. And Musk essentially says, we'll get started on some of your ideas now. That, I guess, in essence, acts as the interview. Nikita then works through the weekend with a friend, non-stop. First thing Monday, the whole onboarding for the X platform has been redone. Present it to Musk. Instead of Elon going, yeah, well, let's analyze this and discuss this. And no, just implement it, motherfucker. Yep, good. Okay, let's go. Done. This bias for action is why Musk-led companies manage to do so much faster than any of their so-called competitors. Examples include SpaceX, reusable rockets. It took 10 years before Blue Origin landed their first orbital class booster. 10 years after SpaceX did it. Not 10 days, not weeks, not months. 10 years. And roughly a decade after Tesla first began profitably producing high-volume electric vehicles, guess how many other companies are doing that today? 0. And we've seen XAI, founded 2.5 years ago, very late to the AI party, leapfrog the industry. Countless examples. The final point I want to make is big brain engineers know this about Musk-led companies. They know that if they work for SpaceX, Tesla, XAI, that they will be given agency and responsibility and trusted and can deploy great ideas almost instantly without any layers of bullshit and over-analysis, meaning they can have the biggest meaningful impact in terms of their career, their profession, actually doing engineering. New features, new ideas, new products. They can deploy these ideas faster than anywhere else at any other company, and it's not even close. If you're a top 0.1% engineer, you want to have a massive impact on the world, which by the way is fantastic for your long-term career, where else would you want to work? And this is a point I've made back going many years. Musk-led companies have their pick of the world's best and brightest engineers. Everyone else has to choose from the leftovers, and this actually really matters. This is why we see example after example of tiny Musk-led teams out innovating, out engineering, out improving, running circles around the so-called competition, irrespective of industry, AI, social media, EVs, space. You just can't compete with that. Want more content? Early access? Bunch of perks? Click the links in the pinned comment. AG1 has been part of my daily health protocol for almost half a decade. It's packed full of vitamins and minerals and helps me fill in nutritional gaps while supporting energy, digestion, and immune function. It also has prebiotics and probiotics to promote gut health. I take my health very seriously, and so should you. Try AG1 today by visiting drinkag1.com/SMR or click the link in the pinned comment and enjoy a free welcome kit with vitamin D3 plus K2 and AG1 travel packs. That's drinkag1.com/SMR.